So, I mean, the trade deadline, though, going to baseball now is this week. A lot of players are going to be moved, switching teams. Now, luckily for you, you're never traded at the deadline, but as a player, what's that time of season kind of like? Like, did you ever have the feeling that you might get traded, and did that kind of, like, affect you leading up to the games at the deadline when you were, like, heading to the stadium wondering, is this going to be my final game with the team?
So there were rumblings many a times throughout my career, just as there are with usually every player. And it sounds crazy, but you just can't let it consume you because you don't really have much control over it. And, in some instances it was, hey, look, I may be going to this club, and hey, that would be kind of cool. I get an opportunity to do postseason. And then there's the other, especially at my time in LA, that I didn't want to go anywhere. I was very comfortable in Los Angeles. So, each guy deals with it differently. But you have to kind of look at the reality is the game's still going to go on. The guy's still going to try and get you out. You're going to still have to get out. And so if there's something that, that is taken away from you focusing on that, it's not going to be in your best benefit. But it's you're a human being, right? And nowadays with the social media and everything, there's no question that it you become aware of it. How's that? You're not going to be immune to it. And you get people talking about it, and you just gotta lock everything out.
Now, over the last few years, the Dodgers have been active at the deadline, always making some sort of move. Now, they've been linked to a bunch of relievers, some starting pitchers, but do you think right now, as it stands, they're currently in a position where they absolutely 100% have to make a move, or do you think that they'll be just fine if they just stand pat and keep the roster that they currently have?
Well, so it's the one thing, they don't have to do anything, right? And that's, when you're in that position, you've got the leverage and you've got the power. So I don't think, as history has shown, they don't overpay for anything. I mean, the only thing that, I shouldn't say the only thing that, when they went out and got Josh Fields, I mean, I don't think anybody realized Alvarez would do what he's doing in Houston. But that's been a lopsided deal. But other than that, the Dodgers have shown they're not going to overpay. And I think just the versatility of the roster and the fact that, there's such a large gap as far as the division is concerned, they're going to have 2 months to figure out, where they need to address things if they don't go outside the organization. And you can do that, whether it's, hey, look, we're going to find out if Jock can play first. We've got at least 2 more months, right? We're going to find out about our starting rotation and who is going to be in that rotation and who from the rotation maybe currently is going to go to the bullpen. We've got guys that are in AAA, AA that the arms are great. Whether they lack the experience. So does somebody come up in the next month or for the next 2 months and maybe fill a spot? So the one thing the organization has shown is that it's not a limited organization. There are a bunch of different roads that Andrew and the guys can go down, and so what you're seeing now. The names may be the same, but they may be in different roles. There may be guys that we haven't seen at the big league, level yet that may have a huge impact. But I will say this: the Dodgers will not overpay. They will not overpay.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about that as well, about the overpaying. Now, what are your thoughts on kind of holding on to your top prospects? Because the Dodgers, for the last, it seems like 5-6 years, have had one of the deeper farm systems, and they've held on to the Bellingers, the Buehlers, the Seagers. Do you think when you have like such a deep farm system, you should hold on to those prospects? Or like, for example, Felipe Vasquez, the reliever for the Pirates, they're supposedly asking for 2 of the Dodgers' top 4 guys. When you're like in a win now mode, when you have a chance to win the World Series, do you think it's worth, digging deep into your farm, or like I said, standing pat and they've held on to some really, really good guys that have turned out to be all-stars?
So if I'm in that clubhouse right now, I'm saying, I don't care, go get whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, and I don't care about, minor league guys or prospects or whatever. I played in an era in the mid-'90s that, we made a Pedro Martinez trade in '93, and then for the next, 5 years, we kept every prospect we had, right? We didn't trade it because it was, we don't want to make that same mistake. And, look, at the reality is not everybody's going to pan out. And quite frankly, most of the guys didn't pan out. But, boy, we could have got a boatload for some of them at the time. So you take that and you look at what's going on now. So do I need Ruiz and Smith? I don't know that I need both of them as catching prospects, so I figure out which one I'm partial to, and maybe the other one is an option. That's both of those guys are probably your top 4 prospects. Do I look at my pitching and whether it's May or Gonsolin, or how do I see those guys in the future? Vasquez is controllable for a few years, so it's not a 1-year rental. And do I feel like he guarantees me a World Series? Well, I mean, there are no guarantees, but boy, it sure strengthens things, and it allows me to become stronger in a bunch of different areas. Is Lux a guy I move? Man, that would be a tough one, right? I mean, there are people that are saying that he could be your everyday guy right now, right? So it just, like I said, as a player, I would, I'm ready to make the trade just because I want to win now. But it just depends on who they're asking for, right? But again, at least with the catching situation, I've got 2 guys. I mean, if one of them makes sense, then maybe I'm ready to part. But I can't keep all my prospects. Well, because my prospects don't always turn out. Yeah. They do not turn out.
So now, final question, real quick. So Cody Bellinger is about to hit his 100th career home run. I believe he has 98. Now, you hold the LA Dodgers record with 270. Do you think that your record might be in jeopardy?
Oh, that's a long ways away, right? I mean, if there's anybody that can do it, it would be him. But there are a lot of things that go into it. You have to be with the organization for a period of time. You have to stay healthy. As far as talent, no question, right? I mean, the talent level is off the charts. So could he do it? 100%. But there's so many other things that don't, really have anything to do with somebody's ability to hit a home run. But man, he's having an MVP type season. Athletically, I don't know that there are many guys in the game that can do more than him. Great kid. I'd love, if anybody's going to do it, I'd love to see him do it.